This is Nancy McHone. Nancy McHone was one of the original founders of the Willits Center for the Art, and I wanted to ask her what started you on your path to creating the WCA, Willits Center for the Arts.
Okay, well, aside from my whole background in community arts and having started the first one-of-a-kind gallery in Willits, which was the first gallery kind of community art setting, I was the director of 3 county-wide arts programs with funding from the California Arts Council State-Local Partnership Program. And so I needed a place to make my office, very convenient to set up this gallery store and have my office there, and it was sort of the cornerstone that made it go. The last community arts program that I was involved with, a new county agency for arts and culture, was sponsored by the County Museum in Willits, and it was called the Mendocino Multicultural Development Program. So we hosted 7 town halls across the county to access arts resources and needs. And the Willits Town Hall was in November 1991. And these were things that, I just have posters here. This is it. This was the origin. November 7th, 1991. Mendocino County Museum was hosting it. And as I said, it was an opportunity to share ideas for improving community life in Mendocino County. How can arts organizations represent everyone? What cultural activities need to be supported and strengthened? How can multicultural interaction be increased through the arts? What would you like to see happen? So we had this program, and it was really interesting. People came involved with all the arts. I can't remember how many people were there, but it was basically musicians, it was people who were involved in visual arts, it was people involved in performing arts. The musicians felt they had places to show, to play their music. I think that the high school was allowing them to perform and stuff. The theater had just gotten their new theater building, but visual artists were kind of stranded. Mm-hmm. So that became a very early on focus for us in the town, because not only was I an arts administrator, but I was an arts, an artist myself. So we proceeded to have meetings about what was going on, and anything that I could help, especially with the visual arts, I did. There was a woman in town who was quite wealthy, and after we had this meeting in November, she said, "Listen, I'd really like to sponsor an art gallery for over the holidays. I'll pay for it if you can find a spot." So I'm looking around town, and the WIC building is empty. And at the time, the Rotary Club was sort of interested. There was a Boys and Girls Club that was sort of interested. And I investigated it, and I was joined together with Mark Rawich, who was the director of the college here in town, Larry Melios, who was an independent artist and had a little gallery space here, Mary Porter, who was an artist, and myself. Once I found out that this building was available, we thought, let's go beyond just creating something for the holidays. Let's see what we can do here. And so we moved it forward. We presented something that we called the Little Lakes Community Arts Project. And we had meetings with the city council. There was a guy who was on his way out. His name was Bill Van Orden. He was a lame duck, and he said, "Hey, you know that there is something here. It's called the Willits Arts Council. And we can incorporate the Willits Arts Council into possession of the WIC building." And he was willing to do that because, like I said, he was on his way out. There were some open-minded people in the council at the time. He said, all we need to do is write into the city books that the Arts Council will revive the Arts Council, and it will be responsible for the WIC building. So this moved forward so that on January 22nd, 1992, the Little Lake Community Arts Project was approved by the City Council to use the WIC building for a co-op gallery, arts classes, and community arts projects, and that's how it began. So we created this brochure, the renovation has begun. It said the Cultural Arts Commission of the City of Willits was formed in June 1992 to promote community participation and support the development of a community arts facility. The City Council has generously offered the vacant Women's Improvement Club next to the Noyo Theater. We're beginning the process of renovation and will ultimately use volunteer time and energy into making it. So I've got the goals here. When you want to hear the goals, what the early goals were?
Well, yeah, what was the original mission? You mentioned it, but can you elaborate on it some?
We said the building would house the Little Lake Community Arts Project. The goal is, number one, provide low-cost studio space, a meeting place for artists, exhibition space, a local cooperative gallery. 2, provide art classes and vocational education, rehearsal and performance space. 3, support community arts. That we thought of that as maybe combining an artist directory, slide library, cultural calendar, organize studio tours, conduct workshops, lecture series, establish an artist in residence program.
In those early discussions, Nancy, what kind of art and programming did you imagine would take place here?
Pretty much what the center has morphed into. That was our goal from the very beginning.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
What were some of the biggest the biggest obstacles in the early stages? Financial, logistical, or political?
Okay. So I've been an arts administrator for 3 separate arts organizations. I was very familiar with the problem with nonprofits, which was trying to get support from the community, getting your nonprofit status, etc. What we leaped forward and eliminated was that the city was ready to sponsor us. They were going to provide insurance. They were not going to provide any money. They were giving us the building free and clear, and we had to raise money for the entire renovation. So that was a big, that was, obviously a thing. I did not want it to be a nonprofit. I said, my experience Mendocino County Museum, the Willits branch of Mendocino College, Willits High School, representatives from the museum, college, and school district served as ex officio members on the Cultural Arts Commission, and the city was continuing to provide advice and logistical support. And so the first thing we did, of course, was fundraising, a silent auction. We did it at the old Hunter's Inn across the street here, and we had 70 artists, and we raised like $8,000 altogether.
Oh, great for starters, yeah.
I mean, it was almost immediately embraced, and it moved forward.
Oh, wonderful, Nancy.
And I was the first chairperson of the what became the
Willits Art Center.
Yeah,
well, now that it is a nonprofit, how do you think it's going?
I have dipped in off and on in the past few years, basically as a an artist. Giving my work to group shows or solo shows, and I stepped away from it because I was very involved in this nonprofit at the time, the Mendocino Multicultural Development Program, and my obligations were to the whole county. So after I felt I set the thing going, and Mark and Larry and Mary and I had all kind of put the basic thing, and we were all on the council together, I felt like I could step away from it. I was really glad that I did, because it opened it to a lot of wonderful new ideas, like a show of, leather working, and we had a show of model trains. I mean, it broadened. I mean, I looked at it as from an artist's point of view, and my stepping away from it helped it get new people in, and it broadened the whole focus.
Wonderful.
So, yeah.
Well, I think you've about covered everything there, Nancy. Okay. I want to thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, and I guess that's it for today, huh?
Yeah, and I have this entire thing of all of these documents. I don't know what anybody wants to do with them. I'm certainly ready to hand them over, because this is not.
We'd like to include everything with the tapes.
Okay, well, I will be in touch with somebody then to pass all this on to them, so that it can be archived.
Great.
Okay.
Great. Thank you, Nancy.
You're welcome.
This is John Hofmeister, and he's been involved with the WCA since its founding. and we have some questions for him today. John,
Yes.
what does the WCA mean to you personally after all these years of involvement?
Well, when I got started on it, this was an old building. It was like a warren of a lot of little rooms. And Larry Milius got a hold of me and said, "Would you like to come and help work on this?" I said, "Sure." So met a bunch of other people there.
Uh-huh.
Went in, started it, and thought, this would be great because we didn't really have anything like it. There wasn't really any galleries in Willits at the time, and this was, I thought, for this community, this would be a great thing to have.
Uh-huh. Do you have a favorite memory, perhaps an opening, performance, artist, interaction that captures the spirit of the WCA?
Probably actually seeing it being open and seeing an opening, first art opening once. I think things happened downstairs because that's what I was really involved in before the upstairs was.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I thought, okay, after all these years, it's finally together because seems like I spent a long time here.
Yeah. Did you have anything in the first show that the
No.
WCA offered? No.
No, I did not.
No. How would you describe the cultural legacy of WCA in Willits and Mendocino County?
Well, as I was saying, we didn't really have anything here before. So as far as community-wise, it was nice because I know there's a lot of artists in this county and in this town.
Mm-hmm.
So being able for them to be able to show what they do, I think it's just a boost. Otherwise, a lot of people probably do things that don't get to show their stuff because they have no venue to speak of, other than maybe going to the coast. And I don't know how difficult that is.
Yeah. Okay, what lessons do you think future arts leaders can learn from the WCA's story?
Well, if they can find, a similar situation, they just got to put the time in and hopefully can, become successful in doing so.
Good. If you could summarize the essence of WCA in a single word or phrase, what would it be?
Oh, that's a good question. I think the fact that we have this available here in town, it's nice because all the openings are really well attended. It's usually pretty crowded, pretty noisy, and it's nice to you see a lot of people you've seen for years if you've lived in town.
Yeah.
So it's successful.
Successful, huh? Do you have anything else you want to add?
It's been a real pleasure working on it and seeing it come open.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's been really nice. Get to see lots of what artists have done, what they do, because usually, I was usually always building, and so I didn't, other than coming to openings, I didn't see a lot of what's available around here as far as artwork goes.
Well, you're a wonderful potter. So when was the first time you showed here?
Oh, geez, just recently, then and now.
When I was curating?
Yeah.
Huh.
This is a recent one.
Okay.
Just because doing pottery, you need a kiln. That's always been, I've taken classes on the coast, classes down the hill at the college, but generally I was always working, so I never, so I would just have to say, okay, look, I'm going to take the day off or the week off and go do this.
Yeah.
And play with clay again.
Okay, well, thank you very much, John. This is John Hofmeister, one of the original founders of the Willits Center for the Arts. We thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay. All right, this is Judy Hope. She's one of the original members of the Arts Center, and we're going to talk about looking ahead. Where do you see the Arts Center, Judy, in 10, 20, or even 50 years?
Well, I just hope it continues.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's so often held together by volunteers, it needs to have somebody else step in behind the person who is burned out.
Right, right.
To put it bluntly, I mean, in my experience, it's just a delight to have new people come in, younger people especially, come in and bring new enthusiasm.
Yeah.
So,
What programs or developments would you most like to see in the future?
well, I really like the under 20 shows, you know, that include children. I remember the first few shows that we had and curated, we tried to get other members of the community to participate, like leather toolers, you know,
Yeah.
and model makers, you know, just people who had hobbies, and it was really wonderful to see them be so proud of their work and have
Yeah.
a venue to show it. You know, what was the question again? I get on a roll.
You're on. What programs or developments would you like to see in the future?
Well, you know, it's just been great the way it's evolving. And your lecture series has been, although I haven't come to many, such a gift to the community. So more of that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, how can the community continue to support the center to ensure its vitality?
Well, again, with new and younger people, you know, the center was built on volunteers and hardly any money. And so we had to generate fun things like, you know, to make it fun for us too, to raise money. And the art auction was the primary fundraiser in the beginning. And do they still do it?
No.
It was a lot of work.
Yeah.
And it didn't generate that much money, but we had no money.
Yeah.
So it was successful for that. You know, and keeping modern, keeping abreast of what else is going on in the community and
Yeah.
in the world is a good thing. But boy, money is the hard part.
Yeah, we need money. We always
And
need
at
money.
that time, it wasn't a 501 or whatever.
See.
Yeah. So every dime had to come out of volunteer labor. Really.
Yeah. What advice, Judy, would you give to the next generation of artists, board members, and directors?
Just keep on.
Keep on keeping on.
Yeah, really. You know, keep painting, keep making your music, your clay, whatever it is that you have an interest in. Just don't stop. Just keep doing it.
Good.
And teach, you know, teaching is important too. I don't teach, but I admire people who are willing to teach younger people or older people what they know. And
Okay,
that's
great.
a big asset to have.
What do you hope future generations will remember about the founding and growth of the Willits Center for the Arts?
That it came out of love,
Yeah.
blood, sweat, and tears. I mean, it was really completely voluntary. And that was, I think, just amazing, you know. And most of the people who were involved were back to the landers, and they were building their own homes. So they had their tools,
Yeah.
and they'd show up and do the work.
Wow.
It was, that was just the most amazing thing to be a part of.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, Judy, thank you very much for
Welcome.
your input, and we will look forward to seeing your next show at the WCA.
All right.
Okay?
Yeah, I'm painting.
Thank you, Judy.
Slow, but I'm working on it.
Anita Sisone was one of the original founders of the Arts Center, and we're going to talk to her about community involvement. Anita, how did the community respond when WCA first opened its doors?
I think we got a really good response, and there was a lot. I'm glad you're asking me these questions about community, because there was a major push every year, throughout the year, for fundraising. And that is how we were inching along, making enough money for a certain thing, and then, because nobody got paid, it was all commissioners.
Yeah.
and volunteers, especially when it came to the deconstruction of the building to then reconstruct it. Actually, Rick was very involved in the deconstruct
Your
part,
husband, yes.
And we spent a lot of time here on weekends, and because I was on the commission, then I spent more time just doing, organizing and volunteers and making the volunteers. I cannot emphasize enough. We had so much volunteer participation. In fact, every year, I don't know if they still do it, the county of Mendocino recognizes nonprofits and volunteer organizations as to who did the bang-up job for that year. And actually, the Art Center was on the short list. We didn't make it that year, but we were very excited that we were shortlisted. So this was early on.
Were there skeptics in the beginning?
This goes way back. So the one thing that comes to my mind is that there were city council members that were skeptical.
Yeah.
So because they're old school.
Yeah. How did you win them over?
By showing up, by showing them that we had participation from the community. We had these big fundraisers that were held at the community center. We had these Halloween costume dances, which brought in a goodly amount of money for our cause, and everybody dressed up. It was a big community event. So that must have been.
Do you remember what you charged for admission?
Oh gosh, golly. It was nominal. I would say something like less than $10.
Wow, that's great. That's great.
But we also had a bar.
That's a good thing.
The bar really, and we all volunteered being bartenders, and we had food and of course the art auction. So all of those things really drew a lot of people into our cause.
Well, what role have volunteers played in keeping the center active and vibrant?
Well, we couldn't do it without volunteers, and we've had, it's a struggle, as you well know, to keep volunteers. We had a woman quite a while back. Her name was, I don't know if you knew her, Mary Sisson.
Yes.
Okay, so Mary did quite a bit of coordination of the volunteers. And the one thing that was stellar is that every time a volunteer participated, she would handwrite a thank you letter.
Oh,
to
nice.
them.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, for any volunteer organization, that is key, to recognize the people that are showing up.
Right. Right.
And it's harder nowadays. I think I haven't been involved with the Art Center. You've been much more involved. But early on, it was, tear down and then paints and sanding and doing all the things that one needs to do. But
Yeah.
there was a core group of men, generally, who already knew how to do construction. Rick being one of them, John Hofmeister being another, and Larry Milius. It was kind of a guy thing to do, and then the girls did the softer stuff.
The fussy stuff, huh?
Well, the more of the organizing, the fundraisers, and getting things. Not to say that they didn't participate, like being a bartender at the dance or something like that.
Are there any individuals whose contributions deserve special recognition in the history of WCA?
Well, I would think that the original core group, the original commissioners, I was the second string. So that would be Mary Porter, Nancy McHone, Larry. Who else was on that? Was Judy? Well, anyway, those three really, and Nancy was very articulate about presenting this whole concept and idea. And so I would say that those people are as well as John Hofmeister.
Uh-huh. How has WC worked to make art accessible to all, regardless of age, income, or background?
Well, my first feeling is the fact that it is open. The fact that our community has this kind of facility, and it just grew. And the Art Under 20, yes. Then the classes started. People wanting to participate, let's say, in the floats for 4th of July.
Yeah.
Those were all, it's not necessarily classes, although the classes were very helpful. But it was people realizing that they can participate in however they want. And for the common good.
Right.
There was a lot of community getting this facility together.
Great. Well, that's what we've got from Anita Sisone today, and I want to thank her very much for joining us.
No problem.
And
thank you, Gary, for keeping it going and still keeping it going.
Okay.
Because your art talks, I think, have been one of the key factors of making the Art Center bigger than it had been.
Thank you.
Because it expanded the education of the whole community.
Well, the education side, I volunteer and run around to 10 different schools in a reservation.
I realize this.
Yeah,
and I have to tell you that Rick was not a person who gravitated towards art history.
Yeah. But he came to the...
He came, he said, Gary is so great, I just have to. I want you to know that for the burly guy that he was, the man that he was.
He was quite a guy.
You drew him in.
Oh, great.
So.
Oh, that's good. Well, thank you very much, Anita. And like I said, we'll look forward to seeing you at the Art Talks.
Well, we'll try. Some
All
of
right.
it is just having to drive at night.
Right. It's difficult.
It's difficult.
Right.
So,
Well, thank you very much.
you're welcome.
This is Rosalie
Anchordoguy.
excuse me. And she was one of the original founders of the Art Center. And we've got some questions for her today. What started you on the path to creating the WCA?
Well, I have to clear that up. I wasn't really so integral at the very beginning, but the founders that started it off had this vision, and then they pulled people in, and we were, my husband Henry and I were some of the people that got pulled in. He worked on the remodeling.
Great.
And things like that. So I can't really take any initial credit for
Okay.
any of that hard work that was done by other fabulous community members.
Wonderful. How did you decide that Willits needed a dedicated art center at that particular time?
Well, every community needs a dedicated art center, and we were part of we were at the tail of the Back to the Land movement. Many people had moved from the cities up to Willits, and we were accustomed to living close to a museum or a gallery or going to a concert, going to a lecture. So the idea of, and of course there were so many wonderful artists that also were moving up here. We were urban refugees. So we all know the value of art in our lives. Art enriches our lives so much. So when this vision was started, so many of us tagged on, jumped on.
Jumped on. What was the original mission of or vision of the WCA, and how was it communicated to the community?
Oh boy. Well, I can't answer that probably as articulately as you would like, but I can speak about the spring auctions. There was, started in the end of the 90s, I think, maybe the mid 90s. We had silent auction. It was in the spring usually, in March, and many artists would donate a beautiful example of their work. You'd have a silent auction and a little party, and we were young, we'd follow it with a dance, and that really brought the community in, and that brought a lot of people like us in. We looked forward to it. We'd want to know, like, 6 months in advance. Now, when in March is it going to be? Because we got to make sure we hold that weekend open.
How did you afford to buy art at that time?
Well, you know, nobody had a whole lot of money, and it was a different time. It was the end of the 90s. I'll tell you about one piece that none of us could afford, and we all loved it. It's a beautiful painting by...
Who's we?
Well, the Art Consortium. I'll tell you about that in just a second.
All right.
So Mark O'Donnell donated this fabulous painting, Farewell to Spring, and we all loved it. And it was $350, and no one had $350. So we just loved it from afar. And then we got together, or came up with the idea of let's all get together and buy it. So it turned out 11 people, well, some were couples, so more, but 11 groups or singles or doubles paid $35 each. So we bought it for over the bid, Gary. I want that to go on record. So for $385, we purchased this gorgeous painting. And what we started doing was rotating it around. We started out alphabetically. Guess whose name starts with an A? Yes. And we would have it for 6 weeks. Then we'd have a party, potluck party, and pass it on to the next person down the line. So at the beginning, we did it like every 6 weeks, and now we're old and we can't all get together that often. Older, not old.
Older.
And so now what we do is we get together about every year. And in the meantime, we've purchased, I think, 9 other pieces from the art auctions. So we have all those 9 rotate around.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And so many good, fun memories. And many of us have so much art from those days, from those auctions in our homes today. But so we then, maybe a little bit presumptuously, named ourselves the Art Consortium.
Good.
And I think that's how I got to be one of your speakers today, as a representative of the Art Consortium.
Okay. Did the founders of the WCA, did they envision the WCA as a regional institution, or primarily for the local Willits community?
That could probably be better answered by someone else, but I think that we were starting locally and acting globally.
Okay.
So there was no problem with, you know, like we are today. We'll have artists from the coast, we'll have artists from other outlying areas, even outside of Mendocino County, who come and do their, show us their exhibits here.
Well, in those early discussions, what kind of art and programming did you imagine would take place here?
I can't really answer that because I wasn't a part of it.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, is there anything you want to add?
Well, I think our art center is a total gem and a gift to the community, and I am so happy that we have it, and you have been such a big part of that, Gary, for the how many years you've been here. And it's beautiful that you have your own gallery, Gary Martin Gallery. So I think it's fabulous. I was raised in LA. My mom was a volunteer at the LA County Art Museum. So we went there all the time.
Wonderful.
And so to have our own art gallery here and to have such high quality art and exhibits is a total gift.
Yes. Well, thank you very much, Rosalie. It was interesting talking to you, and I like a bit about the consortium for buying art.
Yeah.
So I hope you'll continue to buy art as it goes here, and we'll look forward to seeing you at the next Art Talk.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
So thank you, Gary.
All right. Judi Berdis here.
Berdis.
And she is one of the original founders of the Art Center. And we're going to ask her a few questions like, what started you on your path to creating the WCA?
When I first moved to Willits, somebody told me the best way to make friends was to go and work with the newly developing Willits Community Theater.
Uh-huh.
And Brooks Darrow and those guys said we were also doing an art center. And so I came and explored that and became one of the first people that helped to get the art center going and get it rented for $1 a year, and they practically shoved it down our face and said, "Here, do this."
Well, who were the founding members,
Oh,
and what inspired them to take on such a large project?
it was the ones I remember are Judy Hope and Nancy McHone and Mark Rowich and Larry Melius, and I think you probably have a whole photograph of the peoples with their names on them more than
I believe
do.
there is something at the Art Center.
It was fun getting to know everybody because I had just moved here.
Well, how did you decide that Willits needed a dedicated art center at that particular time?
Well, I had just emigrated here from LA, and I was working. I was an occupational therapist, and I came up here for work, to work at the hospital and the nursing home. And that's what brought me up here. What brought me up here myself physically, not the art center, but the woman I asked to find me housing up here before I moved up here, I got all my affairs and my money all paid off and my house sold in LA, and then I was looking for a place up here, and that woman brought me up here. And she brought me up here on a spring day when every flower in Mendocino County was in bloom. And I'm from Pennsylvania, so it looked so much like home. There
Yeah.
were actual rivers with actual water. You know, in LA, all the water is contained in
Right.
concrete.
Right.
And so it was like going home. And one of the places they wanted me to work was Northbrook Nursing Home. And the OT department window looked back on a hill with horses grazing on it. So,
How wonderful.
sold.
In those early discussions, what kind of art and programming did you imagine would take place here?
I'd always been interested in art, and I liked all kinds of art. I had worked in clay and painting, and I appreciated, I came from Bucks County, Pennsylvania, which is a very art infused county, and all kinds of art. I just liked artists, and in doing a survey, I surveyed the United States, and I found that Mendocino County has one of the largest artists per capita county in the United States.
Wow.
Most of them are over on the coast, but a lot of them are here. So I liked the greenery, I liked the flowers, I liked the big trees, and I liked the artists.
You
that were
liked it
here.
all.
Yeah.
Okay. What are some of the biggest obstacles in the early stages? So were they financial, logistical, or political? Or all the above?
Check. The one of the obstacles that I remember us discussing at length was an office in the art center. Nancy McHone had been up to her eyebrows, I guess, in writing, to get money for her art and things like that.
Sure.
And she said she did not want an office in the building. She wanted only art in the building. So we went round and round about that. You can't have art without an office. And so we made no office in the original building. And we have storerooms that are now converted into offices, thank God. We have a computer an address list in the But initially we had no office because she didn't want anything to do with the responsibilities of writing grants and doing that stuff.
Well, what was the building like before it became the WCA?
It wasn't the Women's Improvement League.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that on the front steps of it. And I first saw it when it was under construction.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know exactly what it was before, but it was a big job to redo the floor upstairs, get the bathrooms in, get the 2 downstairs gallery and the little back room all in place. One of the things I did love about, because I was new to Willits, was somebody showing me one of the storage rooms. If you look at the floor, it has like 3 inches of concrete on the floor. And I said, what's that about? You know, and they said, that was the jail. You know, we had
Yeah.
a constable, and this was the jail in the Women's Improvement League, or maybe before that, you know.
I think it was after the Women's Improvement League. Yeah.
After?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, Judy, thank you very much.
you're welcome.
And that's some good information, and we'll look forward to seeing you later.
That's it.
That's it. That's all you have to do, okay?
Thanks, Gary.
All right. Well, hello, Carole Aleshire. She's here, and she was the treasurer and one of the people who turned the WCA into a nonprofit. So anyway, I was going to ask you, though, how was WCA originally funded, and what were the major financial hurdles at that time?
There was a time before I started, when we incorporated. It was my time, but before that there was a group of people were having to make their sales of art out on the sidewalk. I recall, because we weren't incorporated, and there was no state tax being charged and that kind of thing. So and I guess there were a couple different sets of managers that didn't do that great with keeping it together and financially. And I think the city offering it to us for $1. Well, I'm not sure how that worked. I guess it was the city's thing until we incorporated, and then we took over all the management of everything.
Uh-huh.
And before that, Kathy with the city was plagued with all that. So, so we were able to help her out. And they went before the city council, and they were charging us $1 a year, which was fabulous.
Yes, it still is.
It's a good,
It still is.
Yeah, that's great.
What were the early grants or donations that made a decisive difference when you became a nonprofit?
Well, I think that's one. The not having to pay rent. I don't remember. I don't think there were any grants. That we just kind of made it up ourselves. I mean, I think that we paid money from our own pockets as necessary for incorporating.
Uh-huh.
So
What were the grants that came on? And
I wasn't aware of any grants in my time, and I was the treasurer. I think I would have known, but
I got grants.
Back then?
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Well, good for you. I'm glad. I'm glad you did.
How has WCA balanced fundraising with keeping events accessible to the public?
Well, I think the one thing that we had several times was the auction, silent auction, and that was great fun for us going. June and I used to go and pick up wine, ask for donations in Anderson Valley. Guide me back to the question.
I'm sorry, yeah, how has the WCA balanced fundraising?
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah, that's one that doesn't cost much of anything. The silent auction. Gosh, I don't remember. There were a lot of fundraisers. I remember because June and I always poured the wine. I don't remember what they were. I have a terrible memory.
Well,
So-
can you recall a time when financial uncertainty threatened the future of the center?
Before we took over,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, just wasn't working. I mean,
Didn't Bill Barksdale have something to do with keeping it open?
he
too?
was part of the effort just before I joined.
Mhm.
And it was, It was him, and and June was involved in. That's June Ruckman, and she left that group, or it failed. That group failed, and then she was the oomph behind getting us 9 women together.
Oh,
And
great.
we're the ones that incorporated it.
Wonderful, wonderful. Have there been partnerships with local government, schools, or businesses that provide especially important, that prove to be especially important?
Well, the city paying our rent, allowing us to pay $1 a month, a year, $1 a year rent. And what you have done with the schools, art in schools, is you've reached many, many children. And that's definitely an outcropping from, well, you might have done it before, but we backed you 100%.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did, right. Is there anything you'd like to add?
I don't think so.
Tell us a little something
Oh, a little
else.
something. Well, being treasurer was, it was a really fun time getting the 9 of us pulling it all together. It was really fun. But at once I set up a set of books and chart of accounts and all that.
You said that 9 women were putting money into it?
No. Well, the 9 women were the ones that got together.
Right.
I think June probably footed a lot of the bill.
Uh-huh. Okay, great.
But
All right. Well, that's all I got
Okay.
for you today,
That's
and
all
I
I
want to
got for
thank
you.
you very much for coming in and telling us that.
You're very welcome.
All right.
Thank you.
This is Lynne Robertson. Lynne Robertson was instrumental in creating the Art Center, as well as running the WCA as a nonprofit. And I want to ask you, Lynn, how soon did education become a part of the WCA's mission?
Well, when the board of 9 women formed, we initially realized right away that we wanted to provide opportunities for children in arts. And so we developed a scholarship program to provide access for kids to programs such as the summer camp, art camp that we provided each summer. So by providing financial support as well as by providing the opportunity for kids to participate in art.
Wonderful. What role have youth programs and school collaborations played?
Well, I can say years ago when I was visiting Laytonville Middle School to observe a student teacher, and when I got there, she announced, "Oh, it's Gary Martin Day." And I said, "What's Gary Martin Day?" And I watched as a whole class of middle schoolers ran and skipped across the blacktop to learn about art history from Gary Martin. And that's just one of the many, many times he's taught children about art history, starting with kindergartners all the way up through, I don't know, high school.
High school, yeah, sure. Yeah. Do you have any stories of children or students who were deeply influenced by the WCA's programs?
Well, I know that Art Under 20 has been really influential to many young artists. And I had the opportunity to tutor one young girl when she was only about 8 years old in a drawing lesson. She later went on to become an art student with Carolyn Bakewell and participated in Art Under 20. And most recently, I was thrilled to see Crystal Kameroff's work in the alumni of the Art Under 20 program at the Willits Center for the Arts. So that was a real thrill.
You know, how has WCA supported local artists in developing their careers?
Well, by providing an opportunity for artists to show their work and by hosting receptions so that the artists have a venue to meet the community and talk about their art has been, I can speak from a personal level, very important as an artist.
Well, what kinds of workshops or classes were most successful or beloved by the community?
Well, Gary's art talks I've been a participant in, and I've enjoyed many, many wonderful talks about art history, provided with excellent equipment to show the beautiful work that we don't always get the opportunity to experience in such a rural community. So it's really a gift to have Gary's insights and long career of knowing about art history, sharing it in a format that allows us to see up close beautiful works of art from all over the world.
Thank you. Well, how has the center adapted its program to engage younger generations?
The Art Under 20 has definitely been an important part of the community in encouraging young artists.
Would you like to add anything to that?
I think Gary Martin has been an incredible addition to this community, and his expertise is something that we will always value. So thank you, Gary.
So thank you very much, Lynn. It was nice talking to you. This is Larry Rivers, and Larry Rivers came on board about 2008, 2009, and was instrumental in the Arts and Crafts Show at Christmas time. But I want to ask him, what does the WCA mean to you personally after all these years of involvement?
It was always an important place for artists to get together, but I think more importantly a place to show art. The art auction I always felt was really important to bring people out who normally didn't show their work and be able to see it.
Do you have a favorite memory, perhaps an opening performance or an artist interaction that captures the spirit of the WCA?
Not really.
Not really? Okay. How would you describe the cultural legacy of WCA in Willits and Mendocino County?
Well, I think art centers everywhere are really important because they are a center for bringing artists and people interested in art together. And the Willits Art Center was one of the first in Mendocino County, I believe. And it's always been a magnet for lovers of the art and for artists.
Wonderful. What lessons do you think future artist leaders can learn from the WCA's story?
Well, because I was active in the Holiday Crafts Fair, the main reason I got involved with that was because I had been a working artist traveling and doing shows for over 25 years at that point. And I've made my living from art fairs for over 35 years and been a working artist for over 50 years. So for me, I wanted to run the Holiday Crafts Fair and provide a platform and a place for artists to connect with the community, but also to make money and to let them know that people would appreciate their work, spend money on it, and that could be a viable way for them to either make a living or supplement their income.
Very good. You said you came out in 2009, 8, 9?
Somewhere around there.
Okay, and
I ran the fair for about 4 or 5 years. I sat on all the board meetings with you, with Dale, with Charla, and of course a number of other people too. Honestly, I don't remember that much about the board meetings. My energy was really more towards the holiday fair.
Holiday Crash Fair. It's been very successful over the years, and
it got very successful, and it became known as the best holiday fair in all of Mendocino County.
Yes, it is.
Pretty much all year round.
If you could summarize the essence of WCA in a single word or phrase, what would it be?
Art appreciation.
Ah, there you go. Very good. Okay. All right. I mean, is there anything you'd like to add to that, Larry?
Well, I still feel more strongly than ever that the art fair at the holiday time is more important than ever because people are needing to make a living. And I believe that art is a great way to do it, a creative way to do it, and it's a wonderful way to connect with the community. I met with somebody who was on the board today, and I started talking with them about all the ideas that I had put forth to try to make the fair successful, and many of those were ones they hadn't thought of. So I'm hoping that after all these years, I still might have some influence on its success.
Where do you see the center in 10, 20, or even 50 years?
Hopefully still alive.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Larry. The other questions are really for founding members, but I want to thank you for your time, your energy, and for creating the craft fair and
You're welcome.
Supporting it all these years. That's
Yeah,
great.
I still come, still spend money there, and I'm happy to see it still happening and seeing that Bonnie Belt is still continuing to run it.
She does a great
And
job
I think
too.
she might have my original notes to remind myself of things to do to make it successful.
Anything else you want to add?
No, that's about it, Gary.
That's about it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much,
Okay,
Larry.
thank you.